Welcome to another episode of Love Living Local 315. We are your hosts, Scott and Kelly Greats, and today's guest, John Calabrese. John grew up in Whitesboro and is now leading one of the region's most community-focused financial institutions. He is the president and CEO of First Source Federal Credit Union, and today he is sharing with us why he believes Central New York's future has never looked brighter. Welcome to the show, John.
Thank you very much.
Let's start with your shift. You left Pfizer, which was a global career, to come back to Central New York. Ultimately, what pulled you home? What brought you back here?
Well, I loved Pfizer. I had a great career at Pfizer. I learned so much there. The more that I learned and grew, the more it took me further away from home. So I did cover our Asian markets for a period of time, both for our generics business and also global commercial operations. But family took me back home. There was a trip that I took to Turkey. I was finishing up some work there. I traveled home. I missed my flight. I was supposed to be home on Friday. I ended up getting home Saturday, early evening, and I went to go hug my youngest son, Joe, and he pushed me away. And I said, Joe, I couldn't wait to see you. He ran upstairs, and he came down and he handed me his version of a resignation letter.
How old was he at the time?
He was 6 at the time,
Wow.
which he wrote in crayon.
Oh, man. Do you still have it?
I still have it.
Yeah.
I have it on my desk. So we sat at the kitchen table together. We cried a bit, and I promised him I would come home. And the timing, I think everything is meant to be. The timing worked out. We were going through some restructuring at the time at Pfizer, and it was a good opportunity for me to resign and to come home.
Yeah.
But family ultimately, and Joe always says, if it wasn't for me, there wouldn't be Express, and you wouldn't be here.
Well, that's
great. I
great.
agree.
That's a segue into the next question. So you built Express Employment Professionals from scratch and then handed it to your son. What did the transition teach you about leadership and legacy?
It was an interesting transition. Like you, we started from scratch. We started with 0 customers, $0. It's hard starting a business, a small business. In the first 2 years, I think we made 100 cold calls per week, Jackie Vitullo and I at that time, visiting businesses. We learned so much. We got to see a lot of businesses that we didn't even know existed in our area, and they were so welcoming to us. We toured their organizations. We learned more about them. And over time, we built a formidable business, and then COVID hit. And what we built in 7 years, in 8 weeks, we lost 80% of our business. And it really brought us to a crossroads. And I looked at our employees. They were really our family. We were together from day one. We built the business together. So I had to figure out, how do we keep this going, and can we keep this going? I cashed in a 401k, part of my retirement, just so I can pay our team for that first full year of COVID. It was tough, but it was one of the best things that we had done, because when we came out of it, our whole team was intact, and we didn't miss a beat, and it allowed us to rebuild that business. So a lesson learned there is leadership for me is servant leadership. It's always about helping others and watching others succeed. And I think taking care of those that take care of you. It was a great lesson. And in the business, we're able to rebuild it. And it's a very strong business today that my son has and owns and is moving forward with.
So talk about leadership, courage, and I love that you used the word crossroad, right? Because those were 2 crossroads already 5 minutes into this conversation, where you made the pivot from Pfizer and then made the decision to keep the business afloat with your personal money. How do you make those decisions? Like, what does that process look like for you?
Well, it's, again, I look at that team, it really was a family. We went through the ups and downs. When you start from 0 and you build something so special and you enjoy all the milestones that you hit along the way, for me, there was really no other option. I could not walk away from them. And I remember we got together in the conference room at one point and said, okay, you focus on taking care of your families. I'll focus on the business here and keeping us moving forward. And when we come out of this, we're going to be good. So I don't want you to worry about a thing. And fortunately, it played out that way over time.
Is Joe the son that has the business?
My oldest son, John.
Oh,
has the
okay.
business.
All right.
So John started right from the beginning with us in the business. But it was interesting what he would do when we started. We would have some of these assignments that required a lot of workers. The Oreo Foods, they would call us at 4 p.m. and say, we need 12 people to work the midnight shift. And most of the time we would get there, but many times would be 2 or 3 workers short.
Mm-hmm.
We pick up the phone and call John and say, we need a utility guy. Grab a couple of your friends. And he would work those shifts. That's how we first learned about the business. Mm. If you go into our, I don't see it anymore, but if you look at the assignment summaries, you'll see that John probably worked in 25, 30 different businesses to get started. And then we brought him into the business. And over a 10-year period, he did every single job, from payroll to recruiting to operations to marketing. And now he's the owner.
It's awesome. The Swiss Army knife.
So talk about what brought you to First Source.
Well, the journey began when I was running Express. At the time, Mike Parsons was our CEO, or First Source's CEO at the time. He said to me, and we were friends, he said, we need someone on our board that has small business experience. Would you consider joining the board? I had been a member for, I think, 25 years at that point. And I said, yeah, I love the organization. I want to join the board. So I joined in May of 2014. Throughout my time on the board, about halfway through, I'd say 18, 19, I saw what they were doing. I personally saw their mission. I saw the energy. The culture is unsurpassed. Mm-hmm. And I saw strong leadership. I think there was a point in 2019, I said to myself, I'd love to join this organization at some point if there was an opportunity. And over time, that opportunity presented in 2022.
You manifested it, John.
Mm-hmm.
So I need some clarity here because I'm guessing the audience won't know either. You just expanded your charter. What does that mean? So
our charter, we were a community chartered credit union, a federal charter with a community charter field of membership. So that charter allowed us to work in Herkimer and Oneida counties, those 2 counties, which we do a great job in serving our members and taking care of our employees. Over time, we realized that for us to sustain ourselves for the future, we needed to have the ability to expand and to help more communities and help more members, help more people. So over the last 18 months, we've worked with the National Credit Union Association to convert our charter, which is now called a multiple common bond. What that means simply is that we now have an opportunity to operate in many different communities. We're not bound by geography.
Okay.
So what that means for the future, well, first off, for our existing members, our existing counties, nothing changes. We still operate, the way we do in the First Source way. But in the future, it allows us to expand into additional counties, which we will over time. I believe that will give us not only the opportunity to help more people and help more communities, but it'll give us the financial wherewithal to be able to continue to increase our products and services, have more digital offerings, and give our members what they need for the future. So it strengthens our position.
Cool.
And it sets us up for, I think, a very healthy future.
So where is the line between small community credit union and like how big do you get? Right. I'm sure you guys have these conversations. Yeah. So what does that look like?
Well, it's so important to us to maintain our service standards. So you always have this conversation, growth versus service, growth versus culture. We won't compromise on culture and we won't compromise on service. So growth for us is a very measured approach where, we will grow and expand, but we will look and analyze our service metrics. We'll pay close attention to our culture and make sure we're keeping that intact before we take the next steps. But it is a fine line. You have to grow in order to continue providing the products and services that are needed, and they all are increasing in cost. But as you grow, I think you have to keep a close eye on culture and on service to our members. We don't want our members to feel like we're leaving them behind. That's one of the main reasons why we are fortifying our branches. We want to make sure that we're taking care of our existing members and we're doing a great job with that before we even consider moving into other areas.
Okay, so another question that, I think I know the answer to, but some people might not. What is the difference between a credit union and a bank? Like, why should people come to First Source instead of just a bank to do their banking business?
Well, we're a member-owned institution, so our members own our organization,
Which is huge.
Yeah, we're a not-for-profit, so we are not beholden to shareholders. We are responsible and we take care of our members. The fact that we have a not-for-profit status, it gives us the opportunity to take that money and put it back into the community, give it back to our members with hopefully lower rates, reduce fees, flexibility to support them financially, especially when they're challenged at times. And it allows us to, I believe, be fully embedded in our communities. And I believe we are.
Yeah. I would be hard pressed to name a local organization that I don't want to get myself in trouble here. I'm sure there's plenty that do as much as you do, but you also do a great job of being seen and creating awareness, which helps, the brand. So talk about your focus and your vision for community, specifically around teaching kids, financial literacy. That's the word I'm looking for. So I know you do a lot with the schools.
Yeah, we're so committed to that we have a dedicated team. Their job, their sole responsibility is to be in the schools teaching financial literacy, but also in other locations, senior centers. Our team will focus on how do you combat fraud? How do you protect your accounts?
Which is huge right now, yes.
So a lot of work in schools, businesses, and in the senior community, helping them with their financial needs and financial education, financial literacy. But we have a team fully dedicated to that, and it's very important to us. That's another way that we're embedded and we give back to our communities. It's a difference maker.
And your team that you have with commercial, before we even started the interview, we named at least 4 or 5 people that we know really well.
We work with personally. Yeah.
That we work with personally, and I will see them out and about, and they recognize me, I recognize them. It really is a relationship, which is awesome for me because you want to trust somebody. You're trusting people with your money and your funds and everything. That's huge that you could have somebody that you have a personal relationship, that you're not just another client or person that's walking in the door. So,
well, and there's longevity. And that speaks to the office culture. There's nothing more frustrating than every time you walk into a place that you do business with on the regular, you see someone different, someone new. And we spoke before we recorded, but I think it is worth bringing up here, the Herkimer situation. So the new location in Herkimer, the old location is being torn down. And we said, what are you going to do with it? And you said parking. And if you want to tell the parking story about the commitment to employees, and this does speak, this was a huge, you could probably have made tens of thousands of dollars off that piece of land, but you went a different direction.
We did. And, we made a commitment when we built that branch that we were going to have employee parking. We haven't over the years. Our employees parked behind the branch across the road where our ITMs were. And part of that branch was we were going to have parking for our employees. As we were building our new branch and individuals saw that there was land available, we did have multiple companies that approached us to purchase that land. But in the end, we decided we were not going to compromise. We're an employee-first culture, an employee-first organization. We made that commitment. We kept that commitment. So we're excited. We'll take down our branch hopefully later this week. And we'll start getting that parking lot ready, and we're going to beautify the property with some greenery and make it look fantastic on that strip in Herkimer.
I don't want to speak for John, but for the Herkimer employees, I'm hearing valet parking is going to be.
I would do it myself for them. I love our Herkimer team. I would do it myself.
So not only Herkimer, I would also like to touch on Ilion. You're going to have a ITM location there.
We're going to have a drive-up ITM location. We had purchased property several years ago in front of Aldi's in Ilion. Yeah. We had great intentions to build that. COVID happened. The pandemic happened. And as we came out of the pandemic, other priorities emerged. So that kind of was on the back burner. But we really decided as a leadership team that we were going to make a commitment to Herkimer County. Herkimer County and our members, the community has always been so good to us. always.
Mhm.
So as part of our strategic plan, we made a commitment to Herkimer County, which included our Herkimer branch and Ilion. We're about to announce a commitment to Herkimer Community College, an important institution in that area. So we want to give back. That area has been so good to us.
I'm going to shift gears for just a minute because I like to pick the brains of people that are smarter than me. Digital is coming in like a freight train, right? AI is taking over, it seems like everything. And, it's a tool. And like all things, it's an industry disruptor. Like there will create opportunities. There will be some change, which is good, and some that's not comfortable. Where do you see AI in your industry, in the banking space?
I think it is going to be important for our industry. I think it will help us become more efficient. When you look at operations like underwriting, and when you have a loan that can be pre-approved, AI gives an opportunity for that. Now, at FirstSource, we'll always add human intervention to make sure that, because it's all about relationships, that there'll be some type of communication with that individual, but it'll help the underwriting team become more efficient over time. When you look at fraud detection, fraud is an area where you have to put so much resource to because it keeps increasing. But if we have a tool like AI that can detect fraud, detect patterns, allow us to stop it quicker, that will help us become more efficient. Collections is another area where, if you can identify trends and get ahead of it and try to help our members before it gets too out of hand, AI can help detect those patterns too. I don't believe it will replace our employees in any way. I think for our model, it'll give our employees more time to be able to have those in-depth conversations that are needed on financial education, helping improve your credit score, setting up a budget for yourself, and things that take time to commit to. I think the tools with AI and other digital resources will give us more time to build meaningful relationships, and that's how we are approaching it. But there are tools in those areas that I mentioned that could help us become a more efficient organization.
What do you see? I know you're very controlled and strategic with this, as you should be, but what other industries will you step into? I know obviously you're in the, I don't know what the relationship is, but property and casualty in some, capacity. Where else can you help members beyond just banking?
Yeah, well, we went down the path of insurance services. We did that carefully. We wanted to be able to provide a benefit to our members that were members of ours. We also respect all of the local organizations that are in that space, like yourself. So we wanted to make sure that we did it in a way that we were, good neighbors and good partners. Investment service is another area where, especially small dollar investments for younger generations, if they want to start investing early, we want to be able to provide the tools for our members to do that. So that's another area. The commercial banking area is a area that we've grown significantly over the last 10 years. What I love about that is we have helped a lot of small businesses start and grow and become formidable mid-sized businesses and large businesses. And we've also been involved with a lot of economic development. If you look at the major economic development projects in Utica and in Rome, there's a good chance we're a part of that in some way.
That's awesome.
Okay, financial literacy is a major focus for FirstSource. What is one money mistake that you wish more families could avoid early? Advice, something.
It's a great question. For me, the number one piece of advice would be have a budget, build a budget early on, as early as you possibly can, and include savings, some type of savings, whatever it is in that budget. We see a lot of folks that don't have one in place, and their expenses are exceeding, their income every single month, and it gets them into trouble. But if you start out building a budget, right from the beginning and trying to adhere to that and building in some type of savings, you're going to be so much farther ahead than most. And if you don't know how to do it or you need help, ask someone, or reach out to an organization like ours. We have financial service representatives that's what they do all day long. They help our members set up a budget. adhere to the budget, make adjustments to it as income increases or decreases.
Yeah.
Or even like families that are listening right now, like college kids. That was a huge mistake that Scott and I made. Like we got out of college and we were in debt.
We
and
made a lot.
we just spent when we weren't making any money because we were college kids. And then we're like, oh my gosh, like we have to pay this back. A lot of kids don't realize, our son included, didn't realize how a credit card works. That if you don't pay it off, as soon as you make those purchases, you get charged more
every month.
Every month. And that's something that, schools, I get that they can't go into detail with that, but that's something that you guys would be willing to do with, let's say, a college kid that comes in and wants to set up an account and say, how does this work? And you can help teach them to be financially responsible at a much younger age, which could be huge.
Absolutely. And surprises always happen. Life happens.
Mm-hmm.
You may lose your job, unfortunately, or you may be in transition, or you may have a catastrophic event. Life happens, and you have to have the wherewithal to be able to withstand those. But starting with a budget and including some savings in that is so important. It's hard, though. It's
super hard because the entire global economy is designed now with algorithms to extract money from you with one click of a button. Like
For sure.
they know everything about you. They know your behavioral tendencies.
Or even the keeping up with the Joneses, too. The comparison, like the cars that people are driving now compared to the cars that people were driving when we were younger, or the houses, or it's so easy to get drawn into that.
Just had that conversation with our second son yesterday. I was saying, because one of his buddies was complaining about the cost of his insurance. And I said respectfully, your buddy's 17 years old driving a $40,000 truck. I'm like, you know what my insurance was? When I was a kid, it was like $20 because my car was $400. You can't drive around in a $40,000 asset and then try to.
It's just so different now than it was.
But that is just that financial literacy and keeping up. And it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And if I could give just one piece of advice to the younger generation, it's stay out of debt. You get caught in this debt snowball and it's like suffocating and it's so hard to get out of it ahead. And then you start doing things that you normally wouldn't do for money, or working jobs you don't want to work, or overtime because you have to,
But like what I'll say is, like, the first thing that I did when I got my first job, I wanted a car. I wanted a new car because, like Scott had said, we drove around in these old beaters and literally crossed our fingers that I would make it like to work every day. And so to be able to do that through a credit union like yours, your First Source, go in, sign that note, pay it off, have somebody talk to you about the way that it works. That was my first purchase that I had made as an adult, was a car, and I had to make that payment every month. And it really makes you responsible, financially responsible. And it's okay to want nice things, but then you have to be able to sacrifice and pay them off and do the things that you need to do. So,
and if there's times where our members get into some trouble, there might be a life event that happens, our team will work with the member to keep them moving forward in a positive way. If we have to restructure something, if we have to meet them where they are, we'll do that. I think that's also one of the biggest differences with a credit union.
With a local credit union, for sure. Yeah.
Let's talk Central New York. You've traveled the globe, worked in like 50 different countries. What do we do better than some other places?
I think about that a lot, as far as what is so special about this area. I truly believe it's the people. I think we take care of one another. When someone's down, we pick them up. When there's an organization in need, we step in full force to help that organization. I think we have each other's backs 95% of the time. We're there for people. I think there's a sense of community here that I don't think you get, in many other parts of the world. I think it's a very special place. This is home. I love it here.
Sure.
It's home. I love being here. I don't want to be any other place but here, even through the long winter we just had. But when I'm sitting at my kitchen table looking out the window in the morning having coffee, I was like, this is where I want to be. I don't want to be anywhere else because of the people, because of community, because of the food.
And it is so funny. We have so many guests on here with that common story that they've gone away, they went away, and something just brings you back here. It's a feeling of home. And I think that's a powerful thing. There's a lot of people that never leave this area, so they really truly don't know how lucky they are to be here. But for people that travel and have jobs elsewhere and live in communities where it's not even like a community. Like when we lived in Northern Virginia, we had neighbors that we lived next to for 2 years.
Never knew their names.
And never knew their name. Could you imagine that? Not here. No. That would never happen here. Yeah, it is. It's wild. So when people see the First Source name 5 years from now, what do you want it to represent across the Mohawk Valley?
When people think of First Source, I want them to think of strength. I want them to think of stability, of integrity. I want also for them to view us as they view us now, an organization that takes great care of its employees, and we work so hard at that every day. Culture is so important to us, that we are seen to provide best-in-class member service, and we form those relationships each day with our members, and that we are leaders in our community all the time. But as we look forward and as times change, we mentioned digital earlier in this discussion. We'll have more digital services, but how I want us to be viewed as an organization is that we have that balance between technology and personal connections and relationships.
Well, because of the age range too, like the younger generation is very comfortable with technology and just asking a question, but like my mother and father, oh my God, no way. Like I have to help her do an Amazon return still. She can't figure it out. They want a person. They don't want to deal with just I
think everyone wants a person. I think the one thing that won't change with digital is we're still prehistoric creatures in that we want to be seen and heard and loved and feel appreciated. And that eye to eye, our kids are the younger generation now, but they won't be in the future.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're going to start to appreciate relationships when they haven't really needed it yet.
And especially with big life decisions, I guess, too. They're not there yet. They haven't made that big life. Yeah. When it comes to that, you're definitely going to want to deal with a person that you can ask questions and be able to trust.
We want to have that balance. So for those members who want the digital experience, we have the tools, but we never sacrifice on the relationship side and the personal interaction side. I think when my dad is 86, he goes into our Washington Mills branch just for his social engagement.
Which is important.
For the week.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people at the agency that would do that. They would come in the same day every month and just pay
isolation's
their bill.
real, I mean, it's.
But he loves the team. He loves the interactions, and he'll make a transaction here or there. But that's also, I think, being part of the community, having those locations where people.
So where are all of your locations right now?
We have a branch in Rome. We have one in North Utica, one in South Utica near the Parkway, Washington Mills, Herkimer, and then New Hartford is our headquarter location.
The ITMs coming to Ilion. Any other spots for those? Is that in the plans?
They are in the plans, most likely moving to the west.
Okay.
But I will say that I have my eyes on Little Falls.
Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah.
I just see
it's a lot
of good things happening there and a lot of economic development that I think is about to materialize. Mm-hmm. It's a great community. So we have our eyes open there.
All right. We'll get Dave Casulo stumping, get his ITM over there. You've done so much with sitting on boards and being part of economic development and education. Speaking broadly for the area, like what do you think is our biggest opportunity here as a region?
I think it's developing in front of our eyes. What I'm seeing is we're creating a diversified economy. If you look 10 years ago, there was a heavy focus on semiconductors, and we were all in semiconductors. But after that, we revamped our healthcare infrastructure, with both major hospitals in Rome and in Utica. And then we started to see hospitality and tourism with the Nexus Center and other type of investments there. And now with Chobani, we see manufacturing and production. Mm-hmm. So what's developing is a diversified economy. And I think staying on that path and continuing is going to make us so strong for the future. It'll give our children opportunities to stay here. It'll allow us to attract people from around the world. You look at Masonic Medical Research Institute, and we have research. There's individuals working there that have come from all over the globe, right here in Utica. But we're building a diversified economy, and that is going to set us up so well for the future. And we have what's different here And I've seen the opposite in other communities. We have collaboration. Our elected officials, for the most part, collaborate. They work well together, and that fosters a lot of the economic development that we're seeing here. They will put their egos aside and do what's best to get funding that's needed or to attract different industries. But what I'm most excited about is a diversified economy, which is developing.
Yeah. Awesome. Want a rapid fire?
Let's go.
Quick half hour, right?
I know, right? Okay, best small town spot in central New York people overlook.
I'm going to say Voss's.
Oh, yeah.
All right. One lesson from Pfizer that still shapes how you lead today.
Servant leadership.
Yeah.
Take care of people. Your success is directly related to or linked to the success of others. That's your true success. I had a great leader. My leader at Pfizer was Mike Schweitzer, who's a former Marine. We spent so much time together traveling. He was a servant leader. Those are words, but his actions every day were servant leadership. And that was my takeaway. That was my greatest learning from him and from Pfizer.
And you're living it.
Harder job, startup owner or credit union CEO?
Oh, tough. That's a very tough question. I think they are both very challenging, but I will go back to starting a business from scratch and enduring the ups and downs of a small business is so difficult. And when you're on your own and there's no one behind you financially, it is very, very difficult. So I would say both challenging, but starting a small business from scratch is most difficult.
What CNY activity is your favorite or one of your favorites?
I love all the golf courses here. I'd have to say two things.
Yeah.
The lakes and rivers that we have here, so beautiful. We love boating, love fishing, and then also golf, golfing with friends and taking advantage of all the courses that we have. It's amazing.
What makes you most optimistic about this region right now?
We are, I think, at such incredible time for our growth. And just what I talked about earlier, we're building a diversified economy. We're having people come back to the area and to a greater extent than what we've seen in the future. We have significant global businesses that are making their home here or part of their home here. And I see, I look at FirstSource, I look at the next generation of leaders that we have, and I see that in our economy in general. The next level of talent that we have building in this region is so exciting, so exciting. I saw something on Mohawk Valley Living just a few weeks ago where they had our next generation of leaders that are present. What is developing here as far as the next generation of leaders is so exciting. It has, I get like energized.
I love that you brought that up. We talk about this a lot, but don't sleep on the kids.
Yeah.
This next generation is
they're bold,
they're
and
powerful.
they're fierce,
and they seem to be staying here.
Yeah,
that's what we need.
Yeah, we've got a core group of future leaders that are proud to be here, which is amazing. So, John Calabrese, FirstSource Credit Union, they're fortunate to have you. We are fortunate to have you as a leader in our community and appreciate you carving out some time to be with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Congratulations on all of your success.
Thank you.